About 17 million years before the very first dinosaur walked the Earth, the ancestors of modern sharks were already patrolling the oceans. This timeline visualizes the immense scale of their existence. While the age of the dinosaurs spans roughly 230 million years, sharks have been swimming in our oceans for over 400 million years. And 65 million years ago, a massive asteroid impact triggered an apocalyptic shift in the global climate, wiping out the giant land reptiles entirely. The apex predators on land turned to dust. But far below the surface, insulated by the deep ocean water, a select group of ancient fish lineages survived the fallout. One of those lineages is the coelacanth. For decades, the global scientific community was certain this prehistoric fish had died out in that exact same asteroid strike. Then, in 1938, a local fisherman off the coast of South Africa pulled up his nets and found a bizarre, heavy-scaled fish that broke the established timeline of paleontology. Finding this creature alive was the biological equivalent of a Tyrannosaurus rex casually walking out of a dense jungle. The immediate question for researchers was how a massive, prehistoric creature managed to endure millions of years of global catastrophes without leaving a single trace. The answer comes down to extreme isolation. The coelacanth retreats to deep, dark waters, sometimes up to 2,300 feet below the surface, where it is heavily buffered from asteroid impacts and creeping ice ages. Down in the dark, they operate on an extraordinarily slow biological clock. Recent studies analyzing their scales indicate a single coelacanth can live for about a century. This comparative bar chart illustrates the extreme pace of their biology. A human pregnancy takes 9 months, and an elephant's takes nearly 2 years. A female coelacanth is pregnant for 5 full years before giving birth. Because of this glacial metabolism and stable environment, their DNA mutates at an incredibly slow rate. Biologists refer to them as living fossils because their physical form has barely changed over hundreds of millions of years. By hiding in the deep ocean and slowing their biological processes to a crawl, they essentially built a natural time capsule, entirely bypassing the evolutionary pressures that killed off faster-living species on the surface. Its anatomy operates entirely differently from modern fish. Lacking a bony spine, it relies on a fluid-filled tube and features a unique skull joint to increase bite force. But its most defining characteristic is its thick, fleshy, muscular lobed fins. This anatomical X-ray overlay shows exactly why those lobes matter. The internal bone structure of a coelacanth's fin maps directly to the humerus, radius, and ulna found in a human arm. We are looking at the biological blueprint for limbs, the foundational anatomy that eventually allowed life to crawl out of the ocean and onto land. This is why sequencing the coelacanth genome became a massive priority for geneticists. They realized the DNA of this fish holds the code to understanding tetrapods, the group of 4-limbed vertebrates that includes amphibians, reptiles, and mammals. This phylogenetic tree shows us exactly where the coelacanth sits in biological history. The sister group relationship marks the exact branching point where fish lineages split off to eventually become land animals. By analyzing the genetic code of a heavy-scaled fish pulled from the deep waters off the coast of Africa, scientists are actually reading the origin story of our own arms and legs. Ancient survivors like the coelacanth, sharks, and sturgeons made it through brutal planetary catastrophes because prehistoric environmental shifts happened slowly, over thousands or millions of years. Today, the threats are immediate. Massive dam construction fragments their rivers, agricultural runoff pollutes the water, and invasive deep-sea commercial trawling drags massive nets right through their isolated habitats. The exact strategy that saved them from the asteroid is now a fatal flaw. Their DNA mutates too slowly, and their reproduction takes far too long to successfully adapt to changes happening in mere decades. These creatures managed to outlive the dinosaurs. Now we have to wait and see if their resilience is enough to survive the era of humanity.